Liberals, those pesky clowns, are now blaming the failure of Star Wars The Last Jedi on Russian bots. No, I am not joking. Also, a university employee is caught spending 50 hours per month looking at manga porn in Japan. And a man is arrested again for hiding in a drain to take upskirt photos. And finally, a man has been locked in a shed for like 40 fucking years, mate. I go by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you are witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. Cut to intro. Hello everyone, how are you doing? It is 1:40 in the morning on Friday the 5th of October in Tokyo, Japan. So it's actually Thursday the 4th where most of you are watching. Yesterday's show was a real clusterfuck. I just knocked it out as quick as I could. And yeah, but it got 10 likes and 0 dislikes. So I feel fulfilled. People I've never met, who I will probably never meet, are giving me some form of validation. Thank you, and long may it continue. So, SJW watch, here we go. My SJW sense is tingling, or is that just my nervous twitch? Anyways, they both suck. So, Russian fucking bots. There's no evidence of serious Russian meddling that swayed the last American election. If anyone thinks that Russia is such a viral, clandestine juggernaut that they can influence the entire American election, I think you're giving them far too much credit. That whole fucking country is an absolute mess, and they can barely log into YouTube, let alone influence an election. So, you would think that the whole Russian bot story will just die down or fade away because there's no real evidence. But no, people will continue to use Russia as an excuse for their own fuck-ups. People who blame others, in this case the Russians, but anyone, are lazy motherfuckers, because it's much easier to blame someone for your own fucking failure than to actually man up and admit you've made a mistake and, I don't know, do something about it, fix it, make it better. But oh no, it's just far too simple to say, oh, it's his fucking fault. And that is what is happening with fucking Last Jedi. So, I would like to bring your attention to an article in the left-wing screed known as The Guardian. Here it is. Feast your eyes. The headline says, after Russian trolls tarnished The Last Jedi, is it safe to like Star Wars again? Ben Child wrote this article. Are you out of your mind? You think Russia affected and swayed public opinion on Star Wars? Let me tell you why there's loads of negative comments under the Last Jedi stuff online, especially on YouTube, because the movie was horrible. And it's very easy and convenient to dismiss credible, long-standing Star Wars fans as sexist or misogynist or whatever. That's very convenient to cover over the fact that you made a shitty film. Jesus Christ, Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, should be stoned to death in a public square for his transgressions against the Star Wars canon. The movie really was that bad. I'm not even exaggerating at all. So, I'm sorry to throw acid in your eyes, but I do want to go through this left-wing article a little bit. So, Ben Child says, so the bad press was manipulated. Name me one fucking movie or one film or one game where all the reviews were manipulated. Name me one case. Give me a shred, a tiny scrap of evidence. What's that? You don't have any evidence. You're literally just making this shit up. How can anyone in their right mind blame Russian bots for the negative backlash against Star Wars. This is such a great excuse. Do you know what? Next time, actually, I'm my own boss, so it doesn't matter. But let's just say, God forbid, I have to get a 9-to-5 job. And then I'm late for work. And it's a job where you just can't be late. For example, you're a fucking tour guide or something. You're late by 30 minutes. I turn up. It was Russian bots. See how easy that was? And it's even more convenient to have a cookie cutter excuse that anyone can fucking slide out the oven. In this case, Russia. It is just insane. So I'm giving this article far too much credibility. This guy's just making shit up as he goes along without any evidence whatsoever. And he's not even being original about it. Let's continue. So the bad press was manipulated. The bigots and gender warriors have owned up to abusing its actors. Actually, the gender warriors are the liberals who are obsessed with normalizing transgenderism, even though it is clearly a mental illness, as proved by scientific data, where the stats show 40% of people who are transgender end up committing suicide, which shows you that it is the left. It's actually the writer of this article and his brethren who are actually the gender warriors. Anyways, this guy's saying, now can we just enjoy the film? Well, if you just wanted to enjoy the film, mate, why the fuck are you politicizing it? You could have shut the fuck up and just written an article kind of looking back retrospectively at the movie, casual mention to some political stuff. You don't even need to do that. But you are not letting these politics die. For you, this has nothing to do with enjoying the movie. Within the first line, you've ticked off all the liberal checkboxes, transgender, bigots. You've fallen into all the stereotypes. These people are so in their own world. They're so drunk on their own fake sense of morals and so caught up in the moment, like a preacher in a church just chatting out of his arse, but kind of tantalizing the angry mob, that you've lost all perspective on the real world. No true Star Wars fan watched Last Jedi and thought that was a decent movie. And most people are not stupid. They cottoned onto the fact it was a political vehicle ruined by the producer known as Kathleen Kennedy. God, I can't even... Going through this article is like wading through a jungle thicket. I just have to get the machete out and just start chopping at every single footstep. I don't think we're going to get very far in this article. And already, I feel very frustrated just reading this complete fool's screed. Let's see how much more acid we can take in our eyes, people. So this guy says, in Star Wars, the bad guys will zap your entire planet from the cosmos if they disagree with your political position, which is what you're doing here by making stuff up about how it's nothing to do with the left's fault and this movie doesn't have anything in it political at the expense of quality. In real life, it turns out, the author continues, that social media is a far more effective weapon of mass destruction, a Death Star for the alt-right age. Okay, so within the first two paragraphs, we've got bigots, we've got gender, we've got abusing, we've got, what else? Political position, effective weapon, mass destruction, and alt-right. Seriously, you people on the left, you are the melodramatic ones. You are the fire starters. You are the shit talkers. You are the hypocrites. Oh, God. Okay, let's see how much more of this we can take. Just a little bit more, I promise. We're not going to go too much deeper into this liberal hellhole. News that Kelly Marie Tran, aka Rose, aka Fat Ugly Asian Chick, in Rian Johnson's Star Wars The Last Jedi, has become the latest actor of colour to be forced off Instagram. Who even says that? People of colour. Only some white dude living in his white ivory tower who's, dibble-dabbled with the riff-raff at the market down the street, coming into contact with all kinds of cultures. Mate, the people of colour. You people only see in colour. I went there to see a movie and all I got was your colour, race, sex, all that shit that you're pushing. You want to make things equal? Well, you're doing a very good job of splitting the world apart, mate. She was the latest actor of colour. They're all the same. The Asians, the blacks, the actor of colour. And this actress, not actor, So that's a grave mistake. Also, did you just assume his gender, Rose Tran? She's the latest actor of colour to be forced off Instagram. No one forced her. She pussied out by right-wing trolls. There followed much soul-searching, wondering if it was still okay to be a Star Wars fan, when so many other so-called fans clearly held repugnant views on race and gender. Who the fuck holds repugnant views on race and gender? You've got a black guy in the movie who's actually quite a charismatic bloke, but he had a pretty boring performance, nothing particularly memorable. You got Daisy Ridley as the main Mary Sue, who's an awful actress. She would not even get a good review if she was male in a budget London West End stage production. This is all she does. Oh, what's that? What's that down there? Is that Artu? What's your name? Oh, come here. Come on then, come for the ride. She's really over the top British, and she thinks she's stuck in a pantomime, when actually this is potentially one of the biggest cultural movies of all time. And so that is the reality of Star Wars. Some very average actors. And this author is talking about repugnant views. Who's saying something repugnant? Calling Rey the lead actress of the new Star Wars movies and Mary Sue is a fact. She's invincible in the movie. She can do everything. She can use a lightsaber. She's a master of hand-to-hand combat. She can fly the motherfucking Millennium Falcon. She can do everything. And so just because we don't like some political movie does not mean that we are sexists. It doesn't mean we're misogynists. It means we are realists. We're calling things out for what they really are. And this author is so snide and snarky. He knows deep down in his heart this movie's a political vehicle. Why the fuck do you think he's so magnetized to it and just jerking all over it? Jesus Christ. I can't take much more of this, but let's finish off this paragraph. Those of us who had considered the original trilogy to be the epitome of everything wonderful about mainstream Hollywood in the late 1970s and early 80s suddenly began to worry about the lack of black actors on screen and that gold bikini scene in Return of the Jedi. Had Star Wars always been for the bigots and we missed it? Jesus fucking Christ, Star Wars. Have you seen Star Wars? It's a fucking you, mate. It is the most family-friendly movie ever. Yes, there are dark themes, but there's hardly anything in there to scar you for life. So only someone who is so caught up in identity politics and so lost in the tribal warfare between liberals and conservatives would ever say something like, oh, I'm looking at Star Wars retrospectively and I'm worried about the lack of black actors. I would love you to actually say that to a black person and they will laugh in your face. That's like a black person coming up to me and going, oh man, have you seen this lack of white blah blah blah? I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? Who fucking cares? Imagine a white person, this author, going up to a black person saying, oh, the lack of black actors in Star Wars, it's really terrible, isn't it? What do they want the black guy to do? Yeah, that's right, they're all against us. Vote left. This is so tiresome, but people lap it up because it's such an easy mantra to adopt, isn't it? I like women, I like minorities, I'm a good person, and everyone else is a racist and terrible. That's so fucking lazy, just like this article. I cannot bear any more. There's so much more in it. I wanted to go into it. But basically, I want to set the record straight. Last Jedi is a god fucking awful film. Go onto comments and reviews about Last Jedi on YouTube, and it's overwhelmingly negative. And no one is willing to accept any responsibility. And that's why these people lean so hard to the left, because it's an easy excuse. They can just blame someone for failure. That's the whole thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, you can blame the police, you can blame men, you can blame the patriarchy, you can blame whoever the fuck you like. But at the end of the day, one person makes their decisions. I don't give a fuck how much it's stacked against you. Stop fucking whining, man the fuck up, and take some responsibility and stop blaming people. That movie was shit, and everyone involved should be fucking fired. Rant over. Okay. Woo! Right, no more political shit today. SJW watch is over. So, a university employee has been caught spending 50 hours a month looking at manga porn at work. Now, we've all done some fucked up shit at work, haven't we? I've worked in an off-license, an alcohol shop, and Used to get drunk on a daily basis, smoke a bit of weed out the back. Excuse me, still feeling the effects of that from my youth. And used to get into arguments with customers, rack up the highest phone bill in the country, and crack open the champers and just get absolutely wasted. We've all done stupid stuff at work, but looking at porn is, I don't know, maybe it speaks to a serious problem. Can't you wait until you get home, mate? But I guess that's part of the thrill. Anyways, this is in Japan, of course, the capital of perversion. So I want to read you some of this article. In its mission statement, Kobe University, or Kobe, I should say, waxes poetic about working in a spirit of integrity, freedom, and cooperation. No mentions of gender studies, bonus points for Kobe University, which are all admirable virtues for an institute of higher learning. Still, there are limits to how far such freedom can be stretched, and the school has drawn the line at the actions of one employee. Okay, this is the guys watching the manga porn. The 40-something male administrative worker, whose name has not been released, was hired in 2016 to perform clerical work, such as document management, as well as to provide general assistance to the Human Resources Department. So right now, everything sounds pretty fucking rosy. Kobe University, a red brick university, guy's got his new job, sitting at his desk, just fucking cracking on with it. But then something went horribly wrong. He decided to take on one more project as well, using a workplace computer to look at lots and lots of porn. This guy apparently spent 1,220 hours looking at adult websites since he was hired, with his go-to source for his fetish fix being the erotic manga and illustrations of the adult section of Japanese image sharing website Pixiv, Pixiv. I'm sure I've just lost 10 viewers. So the guy made an excuse. He said, I did it to relax between assignments. That's a pretty good excuse, I guess. But that doesn't seem to necessarily mean he limited his sexy manga browsing to his official break times, as his computer use logs showed that roughly 730 of the hours he spent on adult sites coincided with the times he was supposed to be working. So right, 730 hours. Let's work out how many days that is. Who's good at maths? Anyone get the answer before me? 730 divided by 24. This guy spent 30 days without sleep just watching manga porn. Think about that for 1 second. Imagine watching porn for a whole fucking day, 24 hours. And then imagine it's manga porn, some weird twisted Japanese shit. And then imagine doing that for 30 days. That's how much porno this guy watched. And the amazing thing about the story is the guy did not get fired. So on Tuesday, Kobe University announced that the man is being suspended from work for 6 months, which seems like a surprisingly lenient punishment for spending an average of 50 hours a month perusing pornography in the office. Well, that guy has got away pretty lightly, because if you were doing that in England, there's no fucking way you keep your job. All right, so moving on to other news. Again, quite pervy. Again, based in Japan. Do you see the pattern here? Japanese people are so fucking pervy. It is true. That's my anecdotal statement. It's true. Come out here and you will not come home the same. A man has been arrested again for hiding in a drain to take upskirt photos. Now, I've heard some of this story before, actually, about some pervy dude hiding in a drain. This is more disturbing than the guy watching the porn at work, for sure. I mean, to climb into a fucking drain in the street is pretty extreme for any fucking reason, unless you're a sewer worker. So, I mean, oh God, let's just fucking go. I don't even want, this isn't worth even analysing, because this guy's clearly mentally ill. Why try to use rationale with someone who's just completely out of his mind, hiding in a fucking drain, taking photos up skirts? So, I want to be the street was his excuse, I guess, says the man arrested for hiding in the drain, again taking upskirt photos. The 28-year-old man has been arrested in Kobe. Again, Kobe. Fucking hell, what is it with Kobe? Japan is the most perverted country in the universe, and Kobe is the most perverted city. double record holder. A man's been arrested in Kobe after allegedly hiding in a drain to take upskirt photos of women. This is his second arrest for the same crime. A number of Japanese news sources this week reported that a 28-year-old man was apprehended in Kobe after he was spotted hiding in a drain. The man, who had spent 5 hours quite literally in the gutter, mate, in the fucking gutter, was apparently taking upskirt photos and videos of passing women with his smartphone. This is a mad fact, okay? The drain was supposedly 60 centimeters deep and 55 centimeters wide. So how this guy, unless he's some kind of midget, I have no idea how he managed to fit in a space that's 60 centimeters deep. That's like 30 centimeters, right? That's 60. How the fuck is that guy getting in that hole? So he was initially caught because his hair was sticking out of the grating. And he confessed that he was trying to look up some girls' skirts. So when you come to Japan, ladies, watch out, because people are mad pervy out here. It's true. Why do you think there is a women-only train carriage in Japan? It's to stop women getting groped on the trains. And I have spoken to so many chicks who've been groped on trains in Japan. It's not even funny. All the girlfriends I've ever been with in Japan who are Japanese have never been groped on a train, but they all know someone who's been groped. So, yeah, Japan, people a bit repressed out here, and yeah, they develop neuroses that manifest themselves through perverse sexual behavior in public. It is just deplorable. And finally, this is a very dark way to end the news for the 4th of September. Sorry, the 4th of October 2018 in Japan. But we're going to whiz over to Britain now to bring you news of some geezer who's been locked in a shed for 40 years. You know, you occasionally hear those stories about someone who's been kidnapped and held prisoner for God knows how long. Those stories always make me wonder about what the fuck the person went through, because they're clearly going to be physically and mentally destroyed. Imagine barely seeing sunlight for like 20 fucking years and not having any form of education. I'm not just saying from school or the classical means, but just from having a mentor or meeting people and just absorbing information. Imagine just being stuck in a fucking little room. You'd be a mess. How would you adapt to society? And you'd be like Batman. You'd be all afraid of the sunlight and shit. So whenever I hear these stories, I always wonder about the person, and I'd kind of love to see them in an interview, but at the same time, I don't think they'd be a very good crack in an interview. But that's a hunt online for that. But anyway, so you do hear these stories, and then you think about the captors. What weird people keeping someone captive for that long. I mean, again, it's not even worth trying to analyze, because these people are so like shattered upstairs. You're just trying to unravel an impossible mess. So let's just get into it, mate. So right, there's a shed. Is that what you guys call it in the States? A shed. It's like a shitty little wooden house you stick in your garden that's just basically a giant spider nest. This geezer lived in a shed for 40 fucking years. So I'm reading from the BBC right now, and they say a potential victim of modern slavery has been rescued after living in a shed for 40 fucking years, mate. According to the gangmasters, that sounds pretty sketchy, and Labour Abuse Authority. Officers found the 58-year-old British man with just a chair and soiled bedding during a raid at a residential site north of Carlisle on Wednesday. This guy has basically been in some shit-stained bed for 40 fucking years. 58, that means he was 18 years old when he was kidnapped. Imagine at 18 being kidnapped for 40 fucking years. When you get kidnapped, you're going to be kidnapped for more than double your life at that point, which is just, it puts things into perspective. So he's taken away to be assessed by medical staff, presumably in a complete wreck. And a 79-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of modern slavery offences. So, yeah, by the time you hit 79, you're probably going to be a little bit slack, a little bit slow, and eventually your victim might just manage to get away. So that's some very random news from the world. And I think we've had enough news for today, so it's time to talk about my life. Okay, so my running battle with my building management continues. Regular watchers of the show might have heard me talk about my little beef with this old man who manages the building where my recording studio is. Every building in Japan has this weird drug-addled old guy called a kanrinin. And the one in my building, he doesn't like to have eye contact with you. He's a very passive guy. And for that reason, he's typically quite passive-aggressive. And he gets pissed off at weird little things. And he had a go at me before for having some shit outside my door. In Japan, people are like so fucking obsessed with rules. Oh my God, there's like a tiny dot outside your door. I must report it to the authorities. And sidetracking a bit, what is with the snitches in Japan? Snitches, fuck that. Never be a rat. Never fucking snitch. Always deal with it yourself. That's my motto. Take some fucking responsibility. Stop blaming. Stop trying to pass the responsibility onto someone else. Fucking handle your business. Getting fucking mad now. But this guy, he's too afraid to confront me directly when there's a problem. So he calls up the management company and gets some fucking cunt to come with him and give me a bit of shit. So today, to get into my apartment building, I've lost my key card. So I basically have this way of getting through the automatic doors where I slide like a flyer under the sliding door and the flyer triggers the sensor and it opens the door. You know, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. When he's locked out of his recording studio, he's got to fucking get in, mate. And I'm not hurting anyone. No one gives a fuck. But anyways, they cottoned onto the fact that I was doing this. So the building maintenance guy came to my apartment, shadowed by some enthusiastic-looking douchebag. And they were giving me shit about it. They're like, what you doing? I'm like, mate, fuck off. This is not serious. You're wasting my fucking time. In my building, it's full of prostitutes, fucking everywhere, and yakuza. And you guys are coming to me about putting some fucking bit of paper under the door. And then the guy, he got on his high horse, and he was trying to give me some shit in Japanese. And they know my Japanese isn't good, so they're just trying to like bully me or whatever. You can't fucking bully me in any fucking language, mate. I'll learn that shit quick if you start taking the piss. So I said to the guy, you're wasting my fucking time, and my time is money. You come back on my terms. And he's like, when? I was like, you just come back later because I'm busy. And I tried to shut the door. And the motherfucker put his hand on my door. I was like, mate, I pushed his hand off the door. I was like, don't you fucking touch my door. And he started to get a bit pumped up. I was like, man, don't even fucking try it. And he basically won though. The cunt won because me putting the shit under the door is technically a crime. There are rules for behavior in public that can a little bit ambiguous. And if you start acting the fool, if the police are pissed off, they can throw the book at you. And hey, you know, I'm not going to go to jail for putting a bit of fucking paper under the door, but I really didn't need some jumped up police officer trying to earn his promotion, trying to get one over me. So that I pissed the guy off so much that he started to call the cops. I was like, no. I've been here before in Japan. I've got into arguments with people and stuff, and they start to call the cops. And in the end, it's just not worth it. And I was in the wrong. I should have had the key card, and I shouldn't be breaking into my own place. But hey, this is a minor thing. I got to tell these motherfuckers, this shit's trivial. You need to calm down. You obviously don't have anything going on in your life, and you're being lazy as fuck at work if you're running around trying to throw the book at me for this bullshit. So yeah, that happened today. So the war continues, but I think they're going to think twice before coming back again because I don't like people wasting my fucking time. Still pissed off about it, actually, a little bit. But the Johnny Massacre show calms me down. Venting to people I've never met. Still love you. So what else is going on? I had a meeting this morning in fucking Starbucks, which is just hell on earth. Refined carbohydrates with a side of psychosis-inducing coffee. No, thank you. I'll have a sparkling water, mate. Having a business meeting, and some cunt next to me won't stop coughing. You know when someone has a nervous tick, when they're always clearing their throat? I had to get up and fucking move, you know. That guy really got my day off to a bad start. Some noisy motherfucker like 8 in the morning. So that shit happened as well. Then it's all kicking off. So my beautiful manly slam, which someone mentioned in the comments when some troll was talking about I'm some bum or something, and then one of my fans was like, hey, but he's got a manly slam, he must be worth something. Yes, you're damn right, because poor bums cannot afford this shit. So yeah, the manly fucking slam, the third thing that's going wrong today, this has a slight imbalance basically on the left channel, where the left channel is like a little bit louder than the right channel. So that's a bit of a fucking bitch. So I had to call Manly, the company who make that equipment, and try to get them to sort it out. And in the end, I had to open it up and have a little bit of a look inside. So I'll give you the picture, what it looks like. It's actually quite pretty inside, I've got to be honest. There it is, nice blue circuit board. So I don't know if you can see my mouse, but yeah, there was like vacuum tubes here. So I had to switch the vacuum tubes. There's a vacuum tube on each channel. These things. So I switched it, and then the problem changed from channel to channel. So it's a problem with the tube. So they're going to send me a new tube. And I've just realized that I'm not even fucking using the thing. So today's episode is going to be super, super quiet. But yeah, what are you going to do? So you can actually probably, if you're a regular listener to the show, you will now hear the difference between my voice without the slam and my voice with this gorgeous piece of equipment. So yeah, fuck it. Okay, I'll turn the fucking thing on and you can hear the difference. Ready? 1, 2, 3, on. Hello. All right. So look, now I'm going through the Manly Slam and maybe it sounds a lot better. What else is going on in my life? Okay, so to complement this beast by Manly, I've just purchased another piece of professional audio equipment, very similar. This is a limiter and microphone preamplifier, but I've just ordered a compressor and limiter. It's called the Variable Mu, and this thing is fucking magical. It just glues a mix together when you got drums and vocals and bass and all this shit going on at the same time. You use the Variable Mu, as it's called, and it's almost as if you've got all these elements that are separated by cracks, and it's like pouring super glue in between it, and it just hardens all the pieces together and it becomes like one unit. Or it's almost like I have this weird imagination of Spider-Man doing this and shooting his webbing everywhere and just tethering everything together. That's what this new piece of equipment is like. It just tethers all the disparate elements of it mixed together and makes it sound cohesive and kind of clear and crystal and sweet. It's so fucking good, so useful. Can't wait to get that. I'm going to get that the day after tomorrow. And then the next piece of gear, well, there's 2 more on my Christmas list, motherfucker, and I can't wait to tell you about that. So, Mailbox. We're going to head over to the Mailbox now. I've got quite a few today. I'm well excited about it. So, we've got Kyle Ellison saying, as someone, and he is at Thou Art I, at THOUARTI. He says, as someone not a native-born citizen of Japan, do you ever feel like you're treated more like a tourist than an actual citizen of Tokyo? Yes, all the time. It was only the other day when I was eating in a little Japanese shack with chopsticks, and the guy next to me, who I've seen loads of times, he looked at me. He was watching me eating my food, and I could see him out the corner of my eye. I just want to eat my fucking food. Can you not just fucking stare at me the whole time? And he goes, oh, jozu desu ne, which means, wow, good skill, amazing skills with chopsticks. Mate, before I even came to Japan, we used chopsticks in England because we eat Chinese food, and I've been here for like 10 fucking years nearly, so of course I can use chopsticks. So yes, people treat you like a tourist all the time, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, it's not like they're fucking spitting at me or anything, so I can't complain. But yes, people do treat you like a tourist. And yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Kyle. And there's a few more, but for some reason I can't fucking find them now. There's me ranting at the director of The Last Jedi. I am able to see that. But oh, here we go. Okay, sorry people. Right, I can't find the other ones because I'm being retarded, but I did have a few more and I will answer them on tomorrow's show. So yeah, am I going to the light side or the dark side? At the end of the show, we decide whether to finish on a positive or a negative note. And I'm going to go on a positive note. So for all the political rambling and bullshit about gender and all this crap, I've got to say, I fucking love women. And I'm not saying that to appear like a good person. I couldn't give a fuck about morals or virtue at all. I'm a nihilist. I don't believe in God. And so I believe that virtue and morals are relative. So, yeah, if you think going around slapping people in the face is good, that means it's good. It's all about the individual. So I'm not trying to score brownie points. I don't give a fuck what people think about me, and I don't want to be politically correct. But hey, amidst all of this, I think we're forgetting that men just love women and women just love men. The female part of the species are just fucking awesome because they're nothing like men. They're really nothing like men. And the reason I say this is for a very weird reason. So my girlfriend, I helped her start this new business recently, and it's taken off, and because everything I touch turns to gold, of course. And I was reading some of the messages that her customers send her, and because my girlfriend's quite cute, or pretty fucking, she's got like a cloud of pheromones that follows her around. She's extremely attractive. She seems to attract a lot of female attention as well, who kind of want to see what her game is. So I was looking at the messages from her female customers, and I thought, men and women are nothing alike. The things that men and women idly chit-chat about are completely fucking different. When I chat with my mates, I basically chat about tits, movies, and like football. And women kind of chat about makeup, cosmetics, and just this emotional kind of stuff. And I was reading the conversation, and I thought, this is cool. We're so fucking different, and there's so much to learn from each other. Basically, men and women complement each other. The differences complement each other. They both add stuff to one another, and then kind of develop it a little bit further. So, yeah, don't listen to this identity politics bollocks about how we're all the same. We're not. We're different, and being different is good. I went by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you've been witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show.